What's going on, Florida? Today I'm going to be talking about elderberries, one of my favorites. Not only that, but I took a little poll, and that seems to be one of your favorites too. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. Okay, now this is the first section that I've ever seen, that I ever saw elderberries. This is what made me realize that there's so many elderberries growing wild in this area. These actually have elderberries on them. Go ahead and grab a few. These are some elderberries. This is actually one of the smaller batches out of this tree. These are really old trees. Must be why it makes such full batches of berries. Because mine only made a nice full batch on the first round, and all the other ones were pretty small. Go ahead and collect a few of these, and then I'll show you what I got afterwards. So right here we have the telltale sign of the elder flower. It has a pretty unique white, cloudy, puffy looking flower. It actually consists of a lot of little flowers. And that's the easiest way to spot them, is when they have flowers. But other than that, if you know what the leaves look like, they're pretty unique as well. And you'll find them in places like this. There's like a ditch, drainage ditch, and a lot of untouched growth. Wild growth just hasn't been trimmed back for a while. That's usually where you find your elderberries. That's one there, and then there's one there. Just one example. A lot of the places unfortunately get cleared out the more developed areas get. The place I was gonna show you was like a quarter mile of elderberry growing along a ditch, and they cleared out the entire section. So I'll show you a few other spots instead. Okay, now here we have tons of verbena. All these white flowers, these are not elderberry, even though the flowers are similar because it's a cluster of white flowers. The leaves are very different, but they grow in the same habitat. In fact, in the middle, if you see the taller trees, those are elders. Those are elderberry trees. And then the rest is verbena. And there's quite a few of the elders. All right, everybody. So we have our berries that I just took out of the freezer. These are our elderberries. You always clip them from the stem. You try not to get any leaves. And I like to freeze them because it makes it easy to get the berries off. See, this is a stem of berries. I hit it against the bowl, and most of them come off. And then, boom, run your hands across it. You run your hands through them, they come right off. I have a bowl of ice that they're going into right now. Right next to me is a little cup, a 2-ounce glass of vinegar. And you always want to pick the berries that are all ripe. You try not to get any unripe berries. And now the only reason why I have the vinegar here that I'm going to be adding to this is to rinse it. I also have like a little colander here. And After I get all these berries off, which I'm almost done, I'm gonna add some water and some vinegar just to get any kind of pollutants that might be on it, because there's city trucks that spray for mosquitoes, and then there's, you know, air pollutants from cars and stuff like that. Well, actually, let's see if we can show this one. This is an example of an underripe. This is red. You want them to be like dark purple. They call it black, but it's dark purple. So you don't want that red one in there. And this is a different berry altogether from what I picked. Talk about that later. Alright, so we're just about ready. We'll go ahead and zoom through all this. Okay, so now that we've got them all taken off the stem, we have them into the pot. I have the ice in there and everything. I just rinsed it a little bit so I can get some of that vinegar off of it and any kind of the toxins that the vinegar helped remove. So we have some sugar here. I'm gonna add 1 cup of sugar. I'm gonna let this cook down for a while because I like to do a mixture of sugar and honey. So I'll do 1 cup of sugar with all those berries and that little bit of ice that we got. And then I'm gonna put the honey in after it's already of syrup consistency. So I'll go ahead and cook this down for a bit and then I'll come back to you. All right, so it's at a good boil right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and strain it. I have another pot with a strainer over it right there. Turn it off for just a second. Squeeze all the juice out of these berries. What I like to do is add it back into the pot. This right here. Get all this stuff off the spoon before I go stirring this. And now while that's reducing, I like to take what's still in the pot and go through it with a spoon and squish it as much as possible. I add a little bit more water if needed, but I don't want too much water where they're floating around and I'm trying to chase them. I just want enough water where it helps it all squish. I'm trying to get all the juice out of these berries. And some people use a cheesecloth just to make sure that there's not any pieces of skin, because people say even the skin really shouldn't be eaten, but I've seen little kids eat raw elderberries. Not my little kids, I'm just saying. Eat raw elderberries, and they do it all the time, and there's nothing wrong with them. Like, people say if you have raw elderberries, they'll give you diarrhea, they can give you nausea, but I don't try that. I mean, I've had them, one or two, raw. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that as an adult, but they say that kids shouldn't eat them raw. People that are older shouldn't eat them raw. Really, nobody's recommended to eat them raw, basically. You should always cook them before you eat them. Okay, so now we are at the consistency that we want. It's nice and thick. I'm gonna add this entire thing of honey because there was only about 2 ounces left, maybe a little more. Put it into the jar. Throw a lid on that. Put this back in the stove. Still got a tiny bit in there. Now I got raspberries that I just rinsed. I have those in there. Turn the stove back on. And this isn't going to take long because all we're doing is macerating the raspberries into the syrup. That's all I'm going to heat it up to. Now I'm going to grab another jar, grab a strainer again, because I don't like the seeds in the raspberry, but I do like the flavor. And we've got pancake syrup. And these are our finished products. I made an elderberry syrup, a pancake syrup with elderberry and raspberry, and a drink with the two.